Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be doing some more r/Fatlogic, and we're just going to jump right in. This first one, bit of a laugh right off the bat. Larger sizes shouldn't cost more money. FYI, it's 1,000% fat-phobic oppression that clothes for fat people are so expensive and hard to find. And if you go into thrift stores and buy a bunch of clothes 3 sizes bigger and make them smaller, you're a beep. And I hate you. Fat people deserve to be able to buy clothes that fit, that will last, and that look cute for the same price as skinny people. I don't effing care if you try to justify it as it takes more fabric, because the companies can afford it, and an extra small is the same price as an XL in most cases. It's only sizes bigger than that cost more. We should not have to seek out stores that make clothes that fit. They should just sell clothes that fit us and look good on our bodies, and we should be allowed to show skin. Okay, I do 100% agree with that last part. You know, as long as the illegal bits are covered up, you do you, boo. Like, nobody should care or give you shit for it. Fat bodies are good bodies, and we deserve respect because we are human beings. I don't care if you think you're unhealthy or we're promoting obesity. I am promoting obesity, and I'll sit on you, and that's a threat. Wow, there was a lot in this post, and honestly, I don't know if this is a troll. Like, it hits so many of the beats so perfectly that I kind of feel like it is, and yet I've heard all of these separate points made in different posts, so maybe it isn't. And trust me, like, I've been a 4X before in tops, and some of that is because I have a very large chest, and so for that part to fit, you know, the rest would be really baggy, but you know, you have to shop for the largest part of your body. And yeah, it is expensive, but it is literally more fabric. And it's not just because, like, an extra small to an XL. Okay, sure, that can be the same price. But a lot of that is dictated by the width of the fabric roll that they're cutting. So if you've ever noticed that in a lot of like 3X, 4X size shirts, for example, the back panel has a seam going down it in the middle. And that's because they can't get to the front and the back pieces cut out of the same width of fabric that they could if it was an XL. Like, they literally have to move it down the roll of fabric or cut it on the seam or something like that. Like, it literally affects how much linear footage they have to use of the roll, not just a square foot of, oh, well, it's not that much more square inches. Why is it that much more expensive? This is just my casual observations. I might be totally wrong, but that's what I've noticed. And from making some of my own clothes when I was significantly heavier, is the 60-inch of fabric width that you get at a store, like, you have to cut it differently, and you need more yards than if you were just cutting out 2 XLs, for example. And yeah, fat bodies are good bodies in the same way that having a body is required to exist, I guess. I mean, I don't feel like we should necessarily moralize the size of the body, but I think saying that, like, it's good to be fat is inaccurate. But, like, come on, let's not be assholes to each other. I do love the sit on you threat, because you goddamn know that if I made a joke, or if anybody made a joke about, oh, you don't want the fat person to sit on you because they'll crush you, everyone would be super pissed. And also the hashtags on this post is had to spend $69 on 2 pairs of shorts today, and they're 40% off. $50 for a pair of shorts that won't fall apart by the end of the month is insane. I mean, yeah, but, like, your thighs rub together when you're fat. You go through shorts and pants. It's just reality. It just happens. Why aren't you drawing things the way I want you to? Artists who draw manatee and whale mermaids thin, what the F are you doing? Like, you call fat people whales and manatees, but because mermaids are supposed to be beautiful, you go ahead and thinify the mermaid. F off. Maybe that's just their aesthetic. Maybe that's just how they like to draw stuff. Maybe not everything has to be for you. Yeah, physics. Blah, 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 blah. Got a cute little bottle from my Diet Coke, and it's one of those 64-ounce water bottles with the markers on it for like how much you're supposed to drink, like at 11 a.m. at 1 p.m. so you can keep on track for the whole day. And honestly, as somebody who drinks way too much Diet Coke, I goddamn love this. I seriously need to drink less Diet Coke. More water. Water is infinitely better. Veterinarian medicine. Every breed of dog is different, so we can't use a one-size-fits-all scale to measure health. Human medicine. The BMI scale works for everybody, apart from people of color, but we'll just ignore that. Let's use it to deny proper medical care to anyone it deems Is the BMI racist now? Like, it has problems, of course, like most generalization type things does, but have you seen like a teacup poodle compared to like a mastiff? I'm pretty sure if we tried to make them weigh the same, it'd be bad in either direction, but the size percentage between like your average short human and your average tall human, not remotely similar. God, man. I did not know that the BMI is racist now. I hate how passing the gestational diabetes test is such a big deal for preg-AFAB communities. It's such a source of fat-phobic ableism. Okay, I'm not totally up to date on my abbreviations. I think AFAB means assigned female at birth. I mean, diabetes can kill you while you're pregnant and your baby, right? You should definitely be celebrating if you pass the test, because it means your baby has a better chance of not dying from something like diabetes. Again, it's not the end of the world if you have diabetes and, you're pregnant or whatever, or you have you develop gestational diabetes while you're pregnant, but it is something that takes additional resources to manage, like time, energy, money, access to healthcare. If this post was from, we need to have better education of how to maintain a proper diet while you're pregnant, or more resources, that would be great. But to come out and say it's fat-phobic ableism to pass a diabetes check, like all it's doing is checking to see if you have it. So if you need to go on medication or change some of your eating habits, like, it's just information on how to handle your pregnancy. It's not a moral failing to have diabetes, guys. Like, no one's saying you're a bad person because you have it. Imagine trying to provide medical advice to someone like this. Today, in response to my communicating to my doctor that I did not and would not consent to talk about my weight or weight loss, even if he thought it was related to my presentation, he told me that he'd provide care for me today, but that he didn't think we'd be a good fit. Yeah, he has every right to do that. You're essentially saying you're going to be non-compliant with his care. So why would he want to spend time, resources, and energy trying to reach you? And I would imagine have to deal some kind of lashback from like the healthcare industry because, you're non-compliant, so you're going to cost them more money. Like, I understand if you went in because you had just like chopped your finger off and didn't want to talk about your weight and he was giving you some BS while stitching it on again. Science is wrong because I need to keep stuffing my face. Could people please stop peddling calories in, calories out diets for weight loss as if we haven't known for decades they don't work? Unless, of course, you're hoping for short-term weight loss followed by weight regain and harm from weight cycling. Thanks. I don't think there's much needs to be explained about this other than the reason people say things like calories in, calories out, at least from my experience, is not that's the only thing you need to think about while you're trying to lose weight. It's just to be like, hey, reality check. If you're eating a ton of calories and you're not burning a ton of calories, you're not going to lose weight. how to announce you're insecure, were jealous of your friends, and don't know how to cook. Fat, petty, and pleased to announce that 4 fat friends and I know who lost a lot of weight through the keto diet, pre-pandemic, have gained it back, and most are actually fatter. Yeah, that's really horrible. Like the keto diet, if you can afford it, in my personal experience, if you can afford it, because it is expensive, did work to lose a lot of weight really fast. And then when I could no longer afford to eat keto, I gained quite a bit of it back. But that's because I wasn't able to manage my own cravings and, had some emotional eating problems. It's not because the diet itself is bad. Science, evolution, normal bodily functions, physics, starvation mode, permanent damage, thanks diet culture. Consider this. Your body doesn't understand that there's a certain size and shape that brings with it increased social capital. Your body can't imagine a situation in which it is hungry and there's food, but you won't feed it. And so when your body sends hunger signals, but you ignore them, it assumes there's no food. Your body thinks, no problem. I evolved to survive famine. Give me a bit to get into those systems, and I'll get them online. So while you're losing a bit of weight short term, your body starts changing physiologically, doing things like slowing down metabolism, manipulating hormone levels to make you think about food all the time. In the meantime, you go on a run on a treadmill. Your body now thinks there's a famine and you have to run from bears. But again, your body's like, no problem, surviving is my thing. I got this. So it makes more and greater physiological changes. Since what's with the famine and the bears, basically your body is hard at work doing everything it can to become a weight regaining, weight maintaining machine. And at the end of the process, your body is biologically different than it was when you started. And biologically different than a body that has never dieted, because it now worries that it will experience another famine and bear situation. Bodies are biologically different even a year or more after someone starts dieting. It's not about people lacking willpower or just going back to their old habits. It's about the fact that starvation is unsustainable, and dieting requires that you eat less fuel than you need so that your body will consume itself and become smaller, especially when the body reacts by working as hard as it can to make sure your weight loss attempts fail. This is just more bullshit platitudes. Like, the science about starvation mode, as far as I know, is pretty much that, yeah, you might slow down a little bit if you cut back to like 600 calories a day. But if you're eating a reasonable amount for weight loss, and they say it should be about half a pound to a pound a week, so around 500 calories less a day, you should have no problems going into starvation mode. Because again, it's calories in, calories out. Unless you're doing something insane, those fat stores are there to be consumed in times of starvation and famine. Like, that's what they're there for. So if your body needs it, it's just going to go and use that for energy resources. That's what they're there for. The body is great about using what's there. It's nice to think that, eating one less chocolate chip cookie a day is the same as famine and surviving being chased by bears. Like that's a nice thought, though. According to Twitter, eating healthy is a disorder. Gym rats are so strong because I'd be damned if I ate dry chicken and rice for the rest of my life. They're not strong, they just have eating disorders, and they're disillusioned themselves into thinking they don't. Eating healthy nowadays is termed as having an eating disorder, laughing my ass off. Yeah, that's kind of crazy. Though I've met some gym bros who, it's not that they're eating chicken and rice, it's that they are so fixated on the nutrition that it seems like maybe it's starting to get a little obsessive. Why are you coming for them? If you were all like healthy and held at every size, Fatlogic, positivity. Oh, it's because, bullshit about society praising them, blah, 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 blah. Yes, we live in a society, but if you're letting it affect your life that much, I think you have a different problem. Then privilege is not having to think about whether you'll fit. You're outside the norm if you're very fat or very thin. Guess what? I have had a friend who was a 00, and she had tons of emotional stress about the fact that she couldn't find a pair of jeans in the adult section that didn't fall down. Again, there's nothing wrong with being very thin as long as you're not, pro-ana or any of this stuff. And there's nothing morally wrong with being obese. You're just outside the normal range of sizes. So yeah, maybe you won't fit because you're too thin. Maybe you won't fit because you're too big. Find a solution and move on. Would you rather be thin while always having to micromanage your food intake, or would you rather live in a larger body while not having to worry about how many calories are in the potatoes you ate? Not everyone has to choose one or the other, but I did, and I chose the latter. I think the first part of this is actually very valid. See, for me, if I didn't have health issues from being the weight that I am, which is like a 1 to 2x for the most part in clothes, to give you an idea. I'm also 5'8". To me, it wouldn't be worth micromanaging my food to drop down to like a large or an extra large. But I have diabetes, so I need to lose weight and I need to eat healthier. And that's the same reason where if somebody is happy being the size they are, good for them, man. Like, you extra double thick, go for it. But then don't complain and make it everybody else's problem that you're not happy in your body. Maybe that's mean, but you can be big and beautiful. You can be super skinny and beautiful. You can be super skinny and not healthy. You can be really big and not healthy. The extremes just aren't healthy. But that doesn't mean they're morally wrong. Now, if you just play victim all the time and use it as a shield to be a shitty person, one way or the other, super thin, super big, that just makes you a shitty person. All right, guys, I need to stop rambling. I hope you enjoyed listening to me reading out some Fatlogic and my rambling thoughts about it. If I got anything wrong, I'm super sorry. I'm not an expert, just someone who's living with this diabetes and trying to make it. Calling myself out a little bit when I do these, as well as all these other Fatlogic people. If you enjoyed, please hit like, subscribe if you want to hear more. I'm pretty sporadic, but I'd love to hear any feedback you have or suggestions for other video topics. Bye, guys.